Welcome to Trading the Close. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at VerifiedInvesting.com. Big day today, not so much in terms of volume, but more so what it's leading up to. Give you here a lot of Jerome Powell and CPI inflation data later this week. So tomorrow you have Jerome Powell beginning his testimony on Capitol Hill. That'll be Tuesday and Wednesday. We also have on Wednesday afternoon a 10-year bond auction. That's going to be very, very important. Next, what do we have? We have a market event, the CPI data Wednesday morning. Thursday PPI, and on Friday as well PPI data. So lots to look at this week, but right now, today, we had somewhat of a quiet day on Wall Street. If we take a look at the markets here, we can see that for the most part, the markets today trading a slightly higher across the board. The Dow was up 36 points, the Nasdaq up 55, and the S&P 500 up about 14. Now, the big one today was oil dropping 1.3%. And again, what we can see here is this is a chart that I've highlighted to you guys many times over that, again, signaled downside, and we're starting to get that downside now. Gold today did reverse Friday's up move, down $32, and Bitcoin, which has been all over the map, it is down, well, basically flat to positive today, but I'll show you the chart on that as it was whippy all over the weekend as well. Looking at the heat map, guys, you can see again on the heat map, generally green on the Mag 7 here, Apple up 0.5%, NVIDIA up almost 2%. And you even had some companies here. This is Broadcom, I believe, right here, up decently. And that, again, helped the technology sector be up about 0.25%. Check that, 0.3% today on the day. All right, so just a couple tidbits here. So number one, that's what we're looking at there in terms of the price action on an intraday basis. The heat map obviously guides us. But what I want to do next is I want to look at the keys here in the charts of the S&P on an intraday basis, as well as looking at some of these other functions. So here's your S&P on an intraday basis, the 10-minute chart. We started out with a little bit of a gain here to the upside. This is when NVIDIA rushed to the upside, as well as other charts. The big caps really had big gains early on. That then faded, and we chopped into the end of the day. A little bit of short covering into the close here. Looking at the daily chart, it's another all-time high on the S&P 500. But don't forget, the equal weight S&P is still lagging the RSP. That's what I look at, the equal weight. And I want to show you this, guys. The equal weight S&P 500, where every stock is equal within the 500 stocks, so it's not overweighted by the big cap, the mega cap trillion-dollar stocks. The all-time high was back in March. And since then, look at this fade. More and more. Even today, it was barely green, and look at the fade to the downside. In fact, you could even chart this very interestingly. There's a pretty clear trend line right here and a little bit of a trend line up here, creating what we would refer to in the technical analysis space as a wedge pattern. So the question is, which way does it break? Does it come up here and break out, or do we see a break to the downside? These are all little things that we want to pay attention to. Okay, so a couple things to look at here, guys, as we get into some other charts on the radar. We can see very clearly here, if we look at the oil chart, this has been one that I've said be bearish on. The charts are favoring based on probabilities downside. You can see today, beautiful little fall on oil after it was hammering into a triple area of resistance. All right, so I expect further downside on oil. I think, again, I talked about this before. There was an over allocation by hedge funds to the short side of the oil, to the long side of the oil trade. A lot of them had to cover that, pushed oil up. But if you look at the macro data continues to weaken globally and domestically, and that is going to push oil lower, in my opinion, eventually even seeing the 60s and the 50s maybe by early 2025. Another chart to look at here, Tesla. Tesla has a confluence of resistance lines. Did eke out a small gain on Tesla here, which was just minor, but nonetheless, you could see it did rally higher early and get rejected off of these trend lines. Look at these three trend lines coming together right in this area here. Now, Tesla's had a major move. If we look at this from the low chart on April 22nd to the highs of today, 87% gain. And if we look at just the gains in the last 2 weeks, this stock has gained in 2 weeks 42%. It is due for a pullback. If there's going to be a pullback, this is the zone to see it right here. Taking a look at NVIDIA today. NVIDIA staying within its bearish consolidation zone. We did pop and test the high end. Look at that high end of the channel, which is a bearish channel. And I would suspect that you might chop in here for a little longer, and then eventually will break to the downside. Again, this is all probability based, folks. It's what the chart is telling me. Doesn't mean it's going to always be right. In fact, based on probabilities, occasionally probabilities don't go with the highest probable outcome. But in this case, again, you would favor that, which would be a down move. Here's your reversal candle, your confirmation of that reversal, your continuation, and then sideways consolidation usually leads to a breakdown. SMCI Super Micro up 6% today, another chip stock doing well. We can see again on this chart a nice move up, but look at this bigger picture. Bearish consolidation, a breakdown occurs if you get below this yellow trend line at around $815. Any sort of violation on a daily close above 1045 would negate that downside bias and actually take us to the all-time highs. So two things to watch there. Looking at a couple other charts, TSM, Taiwan Semi. Look at this reversal today, guys. So Taiwan Semi was the hottest stock pre-market going into the open. It got an upgrade from Morgan Stanley, all this good commentary. And what does the stock do? Early in the day, it rallies higher. If I flip to the 10-minute chart, notice it opened here and then look, sold off the majority of the day with a little short covering at the end of the day. That's not good price action, especially on good news. And if we look at this bigger trend line, look at the trend line it's into right up here. So look for some downside there. All right, a couple other charts to go over. Bitcoin real quick. Let's see what Bitcoin has for us. And if we look at Bitcoin here, we can see it's been chopping a lot today, a lot of choppy action here, ultimately kind of stationary on the day. It was up as high as 58,000 and change. It was as low as 54,000. But when it's all said and done, it's kind of right around the flat line for the day. Now, on a technical basis, we did hit support down here. So you would generally anticipate a rally. Max upside, at least in the short term before it hits major resistance, would be this area right here at 60,000. If it comes down and it breaks this lower trend line at 52,000, 49,000 would be major support. Again, in smart money crypto, we did end up taking a lot of profits over the weekend on the bounces, but we still have more positions on the long side based on the fact that I anticipate further upside there. Now, I still have a little short on Bitcoin. We closed out some in the money over the last couple days, but I still am holding a little bit as I do think the $49,000 level is a possible mover there. I do want to bring up another chart here. Look at this chart on Chipotle, guys. This is a great chart here. Upsloping trend line channel. Look at what happens when it breaks down. It gets a big move. We had this one in smart money stocks, and we did close it out for a 10% gain on the short today. But again, notice the channel. It kept on bouncing here, to the high end, to the high end, to the low end, to the high end. And then what happens once the stock split happens, the hype comes out and reality sets back in that this is a fast casual stock for food. And we know that people are pulling back on spending. And that's why this stock is down. And honestly, it probably continues down. I'll just reshort it on a bounce if we get that bounce, and we'll look for that. Gold today, let's take a look at gold here. And gold did stage a reversal, but this is the kicker. It closed above, it paused, it confirmed. So a retrace into this level is a buy level for the gold chart, and I would expect an eventual new all-time high on gold. Same thing on silver. Silver confirmed above key supports. A retrace into this level around 29.50 becomes a buy. Any sort of break is an add here and an add down here, but I don't really anticipate that based on probabilities. I do think you pull back, but then start to make the next move to the upside there. All right, guys. So really what it comes down to is just some good old-fashioned price action, some good old-fashioned price action on the charts of various commodities, cryptos, as well as stocks. And as always, folks, I am here to guide you through here at verifiedinvesting.com, where everything we do is based on data and price action. No emotion, no narratives, no BS. That's left to the mainstream media as well as the social media. We are here to just tell you, listen, you may not like what I have to say on a chart, but it's based on 25 years of probability study. And that's what I'm here to do, is give you the raw truth, whether you like it or not, of what the probable outcome is on a chart. And again, my pleasure being here at verifiedinvesting.com, where we're going to help you get the same information as the institutions. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you as always. Take care.